Me experiment with things that allowed him a chance to experiment with different things, because we never knew what the end results was going to be.
Just the covers, their album covers would just get my attention, and I would read the little comic strip. And then, you know, I hear my brother listening to this crazy psychedelic space funk record, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I was hooked.
It's like a comic book just jumped out. It gave you something more to do than just listen to the record.
Cosmic Slop was just, you know, it's just a mind-bending experience. I just remember looking at it and going, you know, why would someone take us there, you know?
So it was like it was drawing me in type thing. It was just like dope. I knew that it was something everybody said I should stay away from, but it felt so good.
George called me up and asked me if I wanted to do the artwork for Cosmic Slop, and I said, yeah, I'm with that. And I started working on that, and then somewhere near the tail end of the project, Clinton called me up and said, Tro, why don't you write up some liner notes? And I said, for real? The liner notes too? He said, yeah, I like your writer style. Go ahead and do something up.
Pedro Bell is a paradigm shifter. In other words, before he came along, we were sort of trapped in a certain box of language, and he opened up the possibility of empowering the way black people talk. If we say, dang, I went to that party and it was late than a mug, you know, to just know that I had permission to write that.
For a cultural movement to really succeed, you just can't be revolutionary in one area. The same way hip-hop had graffiti, breakdancing, and the music. So it was a complete aesthetic revolution. Well, P-Funk had a similar kind of thing. To wear the outrageous costumes, to have the high-concept albums, to have artists like Pedro and later Overton. All these things said, this is a whole new world view.
Everybody funkin' and don't know how. They should have seen the bull when he funked the cow. He funked it so hard, they saw some smoke. He said, let's get in the bed and funk like folks, laughing at ya.
The Take It to the Stage album started to put people on notice that George and the Funkadelic were going to kick down the door sooner or later, okay? It took leaving one record company, Westbound, and going with Casablanca, Neil Bogart being the president, and one hell of a promotion, man.
We wanted to try to get them because they were signed as the Funkadelics. We couldn't get them, but there was a possibility. George said that they wanted to bring back the Parliaments. So at that time, George was one of the few have really two acts, the Parliaments and the Funkadelics, and both were with different record companies. But basically, they were the same people.
We interrupt the musical portion of our program to bring you a special broadcast from our Parliament.
Hey, baby, here's the record and dance that's sweeping the country. The Parliament's up for the downstroke. Get up for the downstroke. Everybody get up. Get up for the downstroke. Everybody get up.
First record that went, okay, up for the downstroke, started some action, but it was that second album, Chocolate City.
There's a lot of chocolate cities around. We've got Newark, we've got Gary. Somebody told me we got L.A. And we're working on Atlanta.
When Chocolate City first came out, and out of nowhere, within weeks, okay, just in the city of Washington, D.C. alone, we sold over 150,000 albums. I mean, it put the R&B community on notice that here was a group to be reckoned with. And it was different. It was different than any other type of music that was being made at the time.
And when they come to march on you, tell them to make sure they got their James Brown pass. And don't be surprised if Ali is in the White House. And Reverend Ike, Secretary of the Treasury. Richard Pryor, Minister of Education. Stevie Wonder, Secretary of Fine Arts. And Miss Aretha Franklin, the First Lady. Are you out there, CC?
What do we have here? We had Richard Pryor with a bass line.
For me, it was like a big satire. You know, it's like, you know, for blacks, we could just be and do anything. You know what I mean? Who knows whether there'll ever be a black president or whether it'll be a secretary or white or whatever. It was real when that record was out.
Long about 1975, George and them got slapped upside the head with some intergalactic mumbo jumbo. Blam! Next thing you know, it just grew, sparking an epidemic of rule-breaking, rump-quaking, funk activity that sent black music in for a factory upgrade. Thus began the era of the P-Funk.
During the making of the Mothership Connection, George had also formalized his relationship with Bootsy Collins. Bringing Bootsy in the fold also brought in some of the other James Brown guys, Fred Wesley, Maceo, and starting to use all these entities. The pot became bigger that you were cooking with.
Well, all right. Star Child.
Once we made that record, we knew we had something, and that's at the point where George said, let's pull out all the stops and put on a stage show like no other black group has ever had.
In those days, black acts didn't have a chance to form, you know, spaceships and be able to take them out on the road, you know. Neil was with it 100%.
It took my breath for a minute when I walked in, you know, and kind of looked around and saw what was going on. I know that to put something rigged off a ceiling, all of this, I said, yeah, this done went up in the millions.
Free your mind and come fly with me. It's hip on the mothership.
There was an intro to the mothership landing where Glenn Goins would take everyone to church. Glenn had the most churchified voice you have ever heard in your life. And it was a sanctified testimony from him when he would start with, I think I hear the mothership coming.
I think I see the mothership coming, Lord. I think I hear the mothership coming, yeah. I think I see the mothership coming, yeah. I think I see the mothership coming, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lord, I see the mothership coming, Lord.
And the crowd would just get caught up in the fervor. And as the ship would come down, you could hear the roar.
When the spaceship would come down, my adrenaline would go up because the people, they were just so excited. And then, boom, it's there, and everybody's screaming, ah! You know, they just screaming all over the place. And I'm like, they're really eating this stuff up. They really they think this is a real spaceship, probably. You know, they were eating it up.
Seeing this mothership, this spaceship land on the stage, and George would come out with this long white wig and this long white robe with these glasses and his hat. I just fell out.